Welcome to this pre-session of the AMEC Summit. So this is a bit of bonus content ahead of the actual summit in Vienna. I'm really glad that you are here. My name is Annsi Krol, Business Development Director at Ventla and part of the AMEC community for over a decade. Measurement and insight is not just part of my job, it's something I'm truly passionate about. Ventla is the platform that you are currently on. It's built to simplify how events, off-site conferences, and communities come together. But what truly drives us is our mission to create belonging. And part of that is taking measurement seriously. Today, I want to walk you through how we help clients not just plan events, but also how to measure the impacts those events actually have. A heads up, some of these slides are super detailed, so I've made sure that you can have a copy. You will find it if you go to information in your left-hand menu and then go to the folder resources. It's a PDF called Building Signal Ecosystems Through Purposeful Event Design, which is the name of the session. So let's get this started. I'm going to walk you through how we approach experience design. We call it the campfire recipe. It's a simple way to build events that connect, engage, and create lasting value. It begins with purpose. That is the spark that lights the fire. It sits in the middle of this model. When the purpose is clear and true, people feel it, and they respond with more engagement. That purpose then helps you define the right people, not just who attends, but who speaks, who partners, and how you communicate with all of them. Be very intentional in who you invite to your campfire. The right people will make sure that your fire, the purpose, burns even brighter. Then comes priming. Giving people clarity before they arrive, setting expectations and sparking interest. Think of it as preheating the conversation. Then we have rules. They create trust and flow. They set expectations and allow people to participate with confidence, not to control, but to support. Even a regular campfire, there are rules. Don't smother the flames. Throw on an extra log just to keep the fire burning. Don't throw anything into the fire that doesn't belong. So, having rules for your event is just as important. The next step is fuse. This is where we help people connect, because just putting people in the same room is not enough. Not everyone is comfortable with getting to know new people or mingling. We tend to stay with the ones we know. You have to design for connection. Then comes the step of building for the long term. Don't think fireworks, think seeds. You want ideas and relationships to grow after the event. And then finally, the ripple effect. When the purpose is right and the experience is working, people take it further. They start new projects, they collaborate, they carry the energy with them. It's not just about what spreads, it's also about what sticks. Change behaviors, deeper trust, and measurable value. And through every step of this, measurement is layered in, not added later, but designed from the start. So let me show you how that works. Purpose helps us define what you're trying to change, what success looks like. The right people guides you who to measure and what matters to them. Priming, activities can be tracked. Are people opening content, completing profiles, responding to early polls? Rules helps establish expected behaviors, and those can be observed or reinforced. Connection is where emotional signals show up. Shout outs, interaction, reflections, prompts. Building long-term means we look at retention. Are people still engaged a week later, a month? The ripple effect shows what travels: ideas, actions, stories. What spreads after the event, but also about what sticks: behavior change, cross-silo collaboration, new initiatives. Measurement isn't a checklist. We see it more like a thread. So today I'm going to show you this ecosystem framework that we're using. And this helps in the measurement strategy. This model is especially used for internal events like strategy launches, annual kickoffs, and leadership summits, but you can definitely use part of it for commercial events as well. While we help with logistics, this framework helps shape the experience and measure its effectiveness. You'll see a 2x2 grid. On the x-axis is the strategic intent, from tactical execution to transformational change. The y-axis shows the signal type, from passive signals like attendance to active contributions like co-creation. Most event data tend to sit at the bottom half. It's the stuff that's easy to collect but doesn't tell you much. To move you up the value curve, you need intentional experience design. Formats that are built not just to engage, but also to inform. When you design with intention from the start, you create conditions for insight. Our goal is to get you up to the upper right quadrant. That's where human-centered engagement meets strategic relevance. This is where measurement becomes a driver, not just a record. Intentional design is the lever that moves your signals and your outcomes into that upper right space. So let's look at the case. This case has been anonymized, but I still feel that it can give you some insight on how this is all applied. The case comes from a mid-sized tech company operating across Sweden, Norway, and Germany. They had grown quickly and were facing fragmentation. They had different markets pushing into different directions, teams structured for delivery and not really for collaboration. Product launches were delayed, often by misalignment, and strategy really just existed on paper, not on the daily decisions. The new leadership team had a clear strategy. They wanted fewer products, bigger bets, and faster delivery. But the strategy wasn't really the problem, and they knew that. It was all about the alignment. So they planned a 2-day kickoff, bringing the entire company together for the first time since the pandemic. And they didn't just want it to be a regular conference. They set some clear goals on what they wanted to achieve. They wanted to launch the strategy in a way that really resonated, help people understand their role in making it real, building stronger connections across markets and departments, and lay the groundwork for faster, more connected execution. They used the campfire recipe to create something more, an experience designed for alignment, connection, and action. They also set clear success criteria to guide the planning and the insights process. Do people understand what's changing? Do they have the clarity? Confidence, are they ready to act and even in uncertainty? And connection, are they building trust across borders and silos? These outcomes shape the sessions, the app design, and the measurement. If we want to prove impact, we need to also design for it. So let's see how they applied the recipe to begin with. The purpose was clear from the start: to launch a strategy that didn't just sit on the slides, but actually resonated across functions and countries. That purpose guided how the team was brought in. Cross-functional teams and groups were formed, seating was mixed, breakout sessions intentionally broke down silos. The priming started a full week before the event. The app opened up with a live video session from the CEO, kicking off a week of engagement. It included early polls on how well people understood the strategy, daily micro content, and short videos from the leadership team, all designed to get people thinking and involved before arriving. Even the coach ride from the airport was activated with a live podcast hosted by the management team, where the teams could come in with questions or comments, setting the tone for and inviting for reflection, even during travel. The rules and expectations were clearly set from the stage and in the app. Sessions were introduced not just by title, but by behavioral framing. Listen, co-create, contribute. They asked people to bring a story when they were going to contribute. So really engaging and making people collaborate. To fuse and connect people, they had the agenda include walk and talk sessions, a shared dinner with mixed seatings, and even a live artistic performance. These weren't just social touches. They were designed opportunities for connection, for dialogue and discussion. To build long-term, the team created reflection prompts, post-event story highlights, and an evolving stream of content that extended beyond the 2 days. The ripple effect, it was real. Teams shared stories of new collaborations that were sparked during the event, which were then captured and turned into short videos. These helped keep the momentum going and gave everyone a chance to see strategy come to life through connection. All of this was measurable, not as an afterthought, but by design. So let's look at how we then mapped what was happening. What you see here is the selection of the examples, not the full list, on how we mapped event activations into meaningful signals. It's not a document that shows every interaction, but it shows how different types of engagement produce different types of insight. Each activation you see connects to a signal, and each signal ties into one of the 3 outcomes that the management team had identified. Clarity, do people understand what's changing? Confidence, are they ready to act? Connection, are they building trust across roles and borders? Signals range from passive, like the video view durations, to active, like co-created plans or pledges. It's also worth noting that it's not always the activity in itself that determines where it sits in the framework. It's the context and intent. For example, a pulse poll can be passive and tactical if it's just collecting a rating. But if it's part of a broader dialogue tied to a specific moment or a topic, it can provide deeper insight. So we don't rate activities, we look at how they're used. The point isn't to measure everything, it's to measure the things that matter and to build those measurements into the experience itself. So this is where we close the loop. Every activity was designed with a dual purpose, to create engagement and to create insight. The table you see in this slide is to map the journey from activity to signal to insight. This gives you a full loop, not just what people did, but what we learned. Pulse polls give you a moment's feeling. Commitment pledges tells you who's ready to act. And it's not about filling every quadrant. It's about designing for diversity, diversity of data, diversity of interaction, and diversity of intent. That's what makes the signal ecosystem not just measurement, but meaningful measurement. So Ventla was designed for engagement, but built for insight. It's more than just a tool to run events. It's a way to turn your strategies, activations, and interactions into measurable, meaningful outcomes. Thanks so much for listening. I'd love to hear what you think about this and how you run your events. Please come find me in Vienna or connect with me on LinkedIn and just reach out through the messengers. You find my LinkedIn through the QR code on this slide. Thank you so much for tuning in.